All right, so we're recording. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the Word program. And in order to do that, you might have an icon on your screen or you might have an icon in the toolbar. But since I don't here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Word Start button, click Start, and I see that I have Word 2016 here. Now, if you don't see it here, you can also type it in at the Start bar. So Word. Okay, and it looks like I have a couple different versions. I have 2013 and 2016 simultaneously on my machine. Now remember, you have to purchase Microsoft Word. It doesn't come with Windows. So I will refer you back to the link that I talked about for the junior college students here at Santa Rosa Junior College, where you guys can get it for like 39 bucks, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to go ahead and click Open Word 2016, and it starts basically with a new page. Now, sometimes when it starts, depending on what version you have, it might start with something that looks like this, where you get to choose a blank page. And so in this case, we're just going to go ahead and open. We're going to say New, and we're going to choose a blank document, and there we have it. So here we are. The first thing I like to do is to give the document a name and save it. And the reason being is because if the power goes out or the program glitches or something like that, then we don't have to go back and redo everything. So get in the habit of saving often. And right when you open up the program, let's go ahead, even though we haven't done anything, I'm just going to go ahead and save it on my flash drive. So I'm going to go File, and I'm going to choose Save As. Now, the first time you save something, it gives you Save As, okay? And Save As asks you a couple things. So the first thing Save As asks you is, okay, where do you want to put it? And so in this case, because I'm using my flash drive, I'm going to use this PC, okay? And it's going to have me, I double click on this PC, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to where it says My Computer, okay? And my thumb drive right here is called Removable Disk, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. And since I haven't created my folder, I'm going to just go ahead and create a new folder called CS5 for computer literacy. So I'm going to call this CS5. I hit New Folder, hit CS5, and then now I'm going to double click on CS5, and I'm going to save this document as Lab 1. And you might want to save it as All About Me or whatever, but we're going to call it Lab 1, and that's fine. You can call it what you like. And then I hit Save. Now let me ask you a question. Where is it? On the flash drive. Okay, in a folder called what? CS5, right? Okay. What's it called? Lab 1. What type of document is it? It's a Word document. We could tell DOCX. That's the Word document format. Okay, so now that we're in Word, let me just give like a little demo of the area. Word is kind of set up with these tabs. So for example, I have Home, and then I have some options here. And if I hit Insert, I have some options here. And if I hit Design, I have some options here. If I hit Layout, I have some more options. It's designed kind of in what they call a modal form. So for example, most of the stuff we're probably using is in Home. When we want to save the document, we go to File, and then we can choose Save. Okay, and so we just saved it. But mostly we're going to be working in the area called Home. And a lot of these controls might seem similar or familiar to you. For example, you have your font area here. Font is your typeface. And then you have paragraph area here. And that is going to handle your paragraphs. And then you have styles and so forth. And under Insert, let's just take a look at the user interface. You can insert pictures or shapes or videos and so forth. Under Design, it looks like they have some styles and so forth that we can use, and some color palettes, and Layout is going to allow us to set our margins and so forth. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about all that stuff today. We're just going to keep it really simple. Let's go back to Home. Okay. Now, the other area that I want to talk about is this area here. Okay, this is the area where the stuff goes. Okay, this is what's going to print out when you see it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, again, when I call up the lab, let's call up Lab 1. Okay, and the Lab 1 says, introduce yourself, create a document telling me about this, and it says the document should be double-spaced, 12-point font. We're going to create a larger title line in a different font. So we could do that now, and instead of say include a picture or a piece of clip art. So we'll get to that. So going back to Word, boom, okay. What I'm going to do is like type a title. So all, And I'm just typing from the keyboard. I click on the white space and I say all about me. Okay. Now I'm not going to worry about the font and I'm not going to worry about the spelling and the look just yet because I need to get some text on this page. So the lab spec, if we go back to the lab and look at it for a second, it says the document should be double spaced. We're going to go larger title line. It should be 2 to 3 pages. And we're going to be introducing ourselves, how long have we used the computer, and so forth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some dummy text, okay, just filler text so that we can use that so I don't have to type everything in front of you. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to lorem ipsum. So lipsum. Now this text is used a lot of times by designers who are designing like a flyer or a brochure or something, and they need to have some text. They might not have the copy yet, and so let's see what it's going to look like with some text in it. So I'm going to say generate the text, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy this stuff to put in my document. Okay. Now don't worry about any of this. I'm just doing this for my cookbook approach. So I'm going to copy, right click, say copy. Now I'm going to go back into Word. Okay, and I'm going to paste it in here. So I click in Word and I'm going to choose paste. And it pastes it all in here. Okay. Now let's notice something about this. Okay. Now this is dummy text, but it's marking a whole bunch of stuff wrong, and we know that it's wrong because what? The squiggly line, right? So the squiggly line means that it doesn't recognize that word, or it thinks it's wrong, and we get that a lot with our proper names. Sometimes we get that with scientific names and so forth, the names that aren't in the dictionary. Now, one way, for example, like if it's typing your last name, if you type in your last name and it's marking it wrong, let me show you something that you can do. You can right click on the word that you know is right, and you can say, look, I'm going to add it to the dictionary. Okay, and then from then on, Amit, in this case, is in the dictionary and will not get marked wrong. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the text here. I'm going to highlight a part of it. Now, when I highlight something, that means that I can do something with it. Okay, whatever's highlighted, you could do something with it. So, for example, let's take a look. The font right now we can see is Arial, and it's size 10.5. Okay, we're going to want to change that, and we're going to do that in just a second. The other thing we can notice is that the paragraph spacing is actually set to full. Okay. Now your teachers don't really like full justification. The reason why is because it's at the expense of stretching the in between the words. Okay, and it makes it looks great on a brochure, but on an academic paper it's not so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually left justify like that, and see, you can tell because the edges. So you see now here's full. Okay, that looks cool for flyers and all that. Not for academic papers, but this is really what we want for an academic paper. The other thing is the paragraph spacing is single spaced, right? And so we need to make that double. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all of the text that I want to change. So I'm going to, from the L, I'm going to scroll down and go all the way to the end here. And now I'm going to go up and I'm going to change my font and my font size for one. So I'm going to use the font Calibri because it's easy and I think you have it on your computer. And I'm going to choose the size of 12. So here we go. So here's what Calibri 12 looks like. Now let's change the paragraph spacing. So we already talked about alignment. So we have align left, align center. Here's what center looks like, by the way. You know, like if you have a poem or something that might want to be centered. Again, it's kind of designish. Up here we'll talk about bullet points and numbers and things like that, but we'll get to that. For now, what we need to do is change the paragraph spacing. So let's do that. So I'm going to align everything to the left like we wanted to, and I'm going to go over to the paragraph area right here and hit this box, and you'll notice here's what spacing 1 looks like. Here's 1.15, here's 1.5, and here's 2.0. So this is what we want. We want double spaced. So I'm going to hit OK. So we got double spaced. Now the document in the lab said that we needed to have a title line or a title in our document that was larger and different. So let's take a look. Let me go back to our lab, and it says we need to have a larger title line in a different font. So let's go back to our Word document and let's take a look. Now if I want to change the title of the document, what I need to do is I need to select it. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to change the font. So let's pick something fun. So I kind of go down the list here, and I'm looking for something that's maybe a little bit, I don't know, something that's going to catch my eye. Forte, maybe. No, maybe Impact. No, let's see. Something else that catches my eye. Oh, Magneto. Let's do that. Just because it's like crazy and not. Okay, and let's change the size. Let's make this size, I don't know, 26. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this on the document so I can actually center it. Okay. Now remember, it's because I have just all about me selected. If I had more than that selected, it would change all of it, right? So it's just, it changes what you have selected. So now my title line at a different size. I have my text here. One of the things that your teachers might want you to do is indent. And so if you want to indent your paragraphs, what you could do is you just click right before where you want your indent to happen, or right where you want the indent to happen, and then just click tab like you would on a typewriter, if you remember those things. So I hit tab here, and then click here, and then tab. And then I'll click here, and then hit tab. And one more paragraph, and I have click here, and then I'll hit tab. Okay. All right, so we have some good text. It looks like my paragraph spacing didn't catch, so I'm going to highlight this again and make sure that it's left justified. There we go. All right, so now we have all about me. Now it said something about including a picture, so let's do that. I'll go back to my browser. Now I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say copy image. Copy the image. Now I'm going to go back to my document and I'm going to paste my image right here. Or I could go to paste right here. Let me undo that again so you can see it. I go back to my document, I click where I want my image to go, and then I click on paste. And paste, by the way, is Control V, another good shortcut to know. So we'll paste it. All right. That's fine, but it's like way too big, and it's kind of kludgy in the way that it works with the text, right? So let's clean it up a little bit. Now, if I select my picture, you'll notice something that changes. I double click on my picture, and you notice that the tools up here change, and I have some things I can do with the graphic. So for one thing I can do, you'll notice the graphic has these little circles on here. These are called handles. And with the corner handles, you can resize your picture like this, make it smaller, bigger. With the side handles, you can stretch it. Okay, ooh, a lot of hamburgers, you know. So I'm going to undo that. Boom. Okay, again, undo is like one of the best tools. Undo and redo are right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it down. The other thing, oh yeah, check this out. Rotate. You can rotate your picture. Whoa. Okay. So that's cool. But my problem right now is not so much the rotation or that. I'm going to resize it a little bit, but it's the spacing of it. I just don't like the way it's sitting on there. So check this out. I'm going to right click on here, and I'm going to show you a little advanced feature that I like a lot. It's called wrap text. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use wrap text. I'm going to choose tight and watch what happens. Okay, I choose tight. Now anywhere I put that picture, my text will wrap around it, and I can put it anywhere I like. So for example, I'll just put it like right here, all about me. Okay, and just for effect, I'm going to get rid of my first tab because I want it just to line up all straight like that. Now I'm going to do something else to my picture. I'm going to double click on the picture. You'll notice that you have other things. I like advanced features, and I like to show you a couple things to make your project more exciting. If you look up here, it says picture styles, and notice I have my picture selected. I can go to picture styles, and I'm going to choose one. I like the cloudy edges one. See that this is one I use from time to time. Another one I use a lot. Let me click on the picture again. I use the drop shadow one because it kind of makes it look like it's kind of popping out of the page a little bit. So that's kind of cool too. So for this picture, I think I'm going to use that cloudy edges one. And what do they call it? They call it soft edge rectangle, I guess. We'll choose that. All right. Now, we also need to do a header and a footer, and we should talk about that. And I want to put another graphic in here, but let's stop for a second. We're going to do the header and footer. And I'm going to pause the video just so we get another take. So we are at 15. Okay, that's fine. We can just keep the video going. Okay, so let's just keep it going. All right, headers and footers. One of the trickiest things about headers and footers is getting into and out of header and footer. I'll just tell you that right now. And in 2016, they made a good change, I think, in the way that they made this little red X to go to get out of headers. Let's talk about that. First of all, what's a header? Well, for example, in this assignment, I want you to use name, section number, and date as your header. Now, the header's cool because those things in your header will show up on all of the pages without you having to type it again. So it's like a format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert, And under insert, I'm going to look for header. You see where it says header over here? So insert header. I choose header. And because I want name, section number, and date, I'm going to choose this simple header, the blank 3-column header. Okay, so I'll choose that header. Boom. Now it puts it here. Now I'm in header mode. And when it says type here, literally it means like click on it and type here. So I just click on it and I'm going to type Scott and class. Okay, good. Section number, section 1968. Okay, and then we're going to have a date on here, and today is the 31st of August. So we'll say August 31st, comma, and I misspelled August, so you can see that. That's good. We'll fix that. 2016. And I misspelled August, so let me right click on it and see what it says. Oh, it suggests August. Okay, that's right. Okay, that looks good. Now, sometimes what's hard to do with header is getting out of header, because you'll notice I'm trying to click around the page and I can't get out. I can't get out. I can't get out. So one of the things that they did, I think they were having a lot of issues with that. They included this close header footer button, which is awesome. But let me show you that'll close your header and footer. But another way to do that is just to double click on the white space, and that'll take you out of header footer. Okay, so you can either choose close header footer or just double click on the white space. Pretty cool. All right, so now we have our header. Let's take a look at our document. I'm going to scroll down, and you see we have a header on top of this page, and then we have our header on top of this page, and then if we had a third page, hopefully it would have the header on top of that, and it would. So let's do a footer. Now, instead of an actual footer, this time I'm going to use page number, because it actually will work easier, because page number really is a footer, but it's just including the page number. So I'm going to say insert, and I want to put my page number at the bottom. So I'm going to say insert, and you'll notice I have footer and page number here. I'm going to choose page number, and I want it at the bottom of the page, and I want it in the center. Now, I think for MLA folks, you're going to want it on the right-hand side. Whatever you're choosing. I'm just going to put mine on the center today and just leave it good. Boom. Now you'll notice, and same thing, this time we'll use close header and footer up here. I'll close it. Okay, now if I scroll down the page, I'm using my little mouse wheel right now, you'll notice page 1 is here. And then if I scroll down the page, you'll notice page 2 is here. Pretty cool. Automated features. Excellent. Okay. Now let's take a look at the specification again for our lab. So I'm going to go back to the lab by clicking on my browser here, and Lab 1 tab, and let's take a look. What do we have here? So what we're going to do is we are going to double space, 12-point font, looks good. Okay, create a larger title line in a different font. We did that. We also talked about 1-inch margins, and the nice thing about Word is it defaults to 1-inch margins, which is great, so we don't have to mess with that. Create a header with name, date, section number, did that. Create a footer with a page number, did that. And the document should be 2 to 3 pages in length. Okay, well that's cool. So we've almost done everything. Let's add a couple other features, and then we'll have this thing really ready and good to go. I think what I'd like to do is add another picture of a computer. So one of the things that Word does really well is inserts graphic files and charts and PowerPoints and things from other places. You can even insert like live video and sound and things like that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to say I'm going to insert, and I'm going to choose online pictures. And so I'll choose online pictures and wait. And so you need to be connected online, of course. And so I'm going to choose, I want to have a laptop. I want a nice picture of a laptop computer. So I type that in, and I get all these laptops back. And so let's pick one that, here's a nice little Windows laptop. I'll use that. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'll say insert. Now it's going to insert it wherever the last place you clicked was, and it's way too big, right? But we know how to fix that. So let's do that. I'm going to resize this a little bit here. Okay. And I also want to make it the text wrap around it. So I'm going to right click on my laptop graphic, and I'm going to say wrap text, and I'm going to choose tight again, and let's see how this wraps. Okay. All right, that's cool. It's kind of getting there, but it's not quite as cool as I would really like it to be. You know what would be really cool is if the text actually went into this area. Okay. So I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to trick it out. Now watch this. This is another advanced feature, but I think you'll like it. I'm going to remove the background because although you can't see it, there is a white background here that I'm going to get rid of and make that transparent. So check this out. What I'm going to do is double click on my graphic, and you'll notice that up over here it says remove background. So I'm going to click on remove background, and anything that, the way it works is anything in pink is going to get taken out, and anything that's not in pink is going to stay. So there's a couple areas that I need to keep here. I want to mark the areas I'm going to keep. And again, this is an advanced feature, and you don't have to do this on your assignment, but I think it's really cool. And it makes things kind of pop out and kind of neat. I'll just mark another area to keep here. Let's mark it here. Okay, got that. Now it looks like this corners here, so I'm going to mark another area to keep. Click and mark this area here, and mark this area here. And I kind of want to mark this area here just a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Now that we have it kind of where we want it, check this out. I'm going to say, okay, let's keep the changes. Check that out. Is that awesome? And see, it just kind of wraps around it. Now, there's another cool thing I'm going to do with this. Check this one out. I'm going to go ahead and take my laptop up here, and I'm also going to add that drop shadow effect, and I think that'll be kind of cool. Look at that. That's pretty sweet, right? That's a document that kind of pops, right? I think so. Wow, all about me. We got a title, we got this going on, we got this going on. And remember, if you want to change the font or the color or whatever you have selected, you can choose. And we go to home and you can change the font. You can make it bold, italic, underline. And I just recommend that you really just play around with it. But this is enough to get you started. And thank you all so very much. And good to have you. I'm going to click my video off now and